Hello, everyone. Welcome. So good to see you. This is our first time we are going live in 2023, which just feels insane that it's already 2023. And Leah and I just had a killer strategy session. So you all are in for a treat. But today we are talking all about forming habits in 2023. So, as always, we are going to kick off with a starter question. When I was thinking back in December, and a lot of you were there for one of our webinars, we were talking about how the 1% gets a head start on their next year in the previous year, right? So they were starting in December of 2022 for 2023. So I started to think about what my word or my intention for 2023 was going to be. And so I'm curious, all of you in the chat, whether you're in our Facebook groups, whether you're on LinkedIn, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Zoom, all of the different places that we are streaming today, please put in what word are you focusing in or focusing on in 2023, put that into the chat. And if you haven't thought of that, if you're like, oh, oops, didn't realize I was supposed to do that, or oh, I didn't do that. Just what word comes to mind? You're not held to this. I just want to see like what is coming up for people. What are people's intentions for this year? Simplify, loving that one. Loving that one. Ooh, abundance, great one. Answers, oh, that's a fantastic one. Love that. I feel like you would have a whole story on that one, which I would love to hear sometime. Who else? Fearless. Progress, love these. So I had 3 for this year. Number 1 was simplicity. I am going to keep things simple, specifically in business. So you will be seeing a lot of that with Prowess Project this year of really streamlining, one message. Our second was focus. And I love this saying, where your focus goes, energy flows. It is kind of is a sister off of simplicity, and simplify is really focusing on exactly what I want to do so that I make progress, which is funny, Leah, that progress was yours. And then number 3 for us, or for me, was freedom. I want to be thinking about my life in a different way. We built Prowess Project to give women or caregivers freedom in their lives and in their lives, in their work, in their family, in their hobbies, and having all of this time and decisions that they can go do all of this that they want. But I realized some of the time I wasn't practicing what I was preaching. And especially now that my daughter is a 1-year-old and is walking and is like fun. I don't know if that's going to make sense to some of the moms in the room or who are watching, but now she like wants to play and wants to interact. I need to remember that I built Prowess Project for that time freedom. And if I want to go to the park with her and not, have to be butts and seats at 9 a.m., that's why I designed this. And so anyway, so that is a huge one for me, is really thinking about the freedom. Can anyone relate to that? Is freedom one of the top words or top intentions for your years or for your 2023? Any other words that we got here? These are some great ones, y'all. Really great ones. Loving seeing these. Fantastic. All right. Well, you already heard a lot about me, but for those who do not know, I am Ashley Connell, CEO and founder of Prowess Project, and very happy to be here in 2023. We are almost celebrating our 4-year anniversary, which is insane. We've done so much in the past 4 years. But again, for the newbies here, what the heck is Prowess Project? So Prowess is an online platform where we help women typically who are returning to the workforce or pivoting in their career. We help them with upskilling, networking, specifically as online business managers. So that's going to be a big thing that you see in this year, is that we're really focusing on online business managers, and a lot of the content that you will be seeing will be showing that as well. Now, we don't stop there, because we teach people about online business managers, but we also have a whole other program that helps them really dive into how you make those goals happen. And that's called our Pursuit. And we have some people who are even joining in live today who are part of that program. But again, wanted to share what Prowess Project is. So while they're going through this platform and learning to be an OBM, or learning to be their best selves, or learning to take that pivot, we're gathering hundreds of data points on their skill, their expertise, what they want in their job, their emotional intelligence, their work style, communication style. And we use all of that to match them up with jobs. So we really want to be the one-stop shop to upskill, to network, and get access to jobs, to help women have the flexibility and the freedom that a lot of them never knew that they possibly could. So, big problem that we saw, and why we started to focus on OBM specifically, is because many people said that their background looked more like a patchwork quilt. So they had some sales, some marketing, some ops, some tech, some HR, instead of a linear started as an accounting newbie, then went to manager, then went to specialist, et cetera, et cetera. So we really thought that this online business manager could be key. And I speak with online visionaries every day who are subject matter experts, consultants, coaches, who need this person to run their business. So again, just felt like this perfect marriage. But today we are talking about habits. So for those who are watching live, put into the chat, does habits feel like a scary word? Does that feel intimidating to any of you? It does to me. Habit feels very locked in. Habit feels almost like it is something that's going to be so hard to achieve that, how am I even going to get started? And that's why we wanted to talk about it today. Is exactly why we wanted to talk about that today, about forming these habits. Oh, this is an interesting, a habit feels not as good as a routine. Ooh, that's very interesting. And I would love to kind of dive deeper into what that means for you later in this, but really forming habits and why that is so, so, so important in 2023. So what we're going to be talking about today, first and foremost, is we're going to split the thinking. In 2023, we're going to constantly be talking about how I actually, the COO, am the quintessential visionary and in Prowess Project. And then I have my right-hand woman who really is the backbone of Prowess Project, Leah Steinkirch, who is our COO, or the integrator. So the person who is making all of this happen, making all the dreams and our plans, turning it into a reality. So today in forming habits, we wanted to break this apart and think about, okay, so how does Ashley form a habit? And what's an example of one? And then how does Leah create and form a habit? And what's an example of one? And then we're both going to volley back and forth on some top tips that we have on habits and where we learned these. So with all of that, show me in the chat who is ready to get started. I'm going to first talk about some habits, or how I think about habits. Ooh, but we got some, okay, habits. Hard to start, but hopefully eventually will become automatic. Yes, 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 yes. I love that. All right. All right. So how I create habits. Before I was able to create a habit that really stuck with me, and something that I thought about when I was thinking through the flexibility, or through the freedom, the simplicity, and the focus for 2023, is I had to understand why I wanted that habit, whatever it was going to be, why I wanted to make it happen. I needed to understand the why in all of this, or else I knew that I was doomed from the very beginning. And one thing that I realized while I was doing this soul searching and figuring out what my why was, is in order to, again, form this habit, I needed to tie that why and that habit to something that felt very emotional, something that felt very, very emotional. As a human, I am much less logical. And I'm perfectly fine with saying all of this. These are not my zone of genius. I'm much less logical and plan oriented and systems thinker. I'm much less of that, more of go with my gut, passionate. It drives my husband crazy sometimes, but a lot of the times I act without thinking through, and then after the fact I understand, like, oh, I did X, Y, and Z because of this reaction that I had, or because I felt this way, which can be really good and really exciting because I act quickly and I'm very passionate about whatever I do, but also can be kind of tough because oftentimes I don't think through all of the issues. So those are pros and cons. But going back to what we were talking about, I had to connect something that was deeply emotional to the why of why I was doing this habit. So an example that I have is I am currently reading the book Think and Grow Rich. It has been fantastic so far. It is by Napoleon Hill. It was written in like the 1930s, right after the Great Depression, and it's all about doing a lot of visualizing and tying whatever you want to make happen to actually make it happen. And one of the key things in there was really visualizing on a daily basis what you want your life to look like, and really get in there and feel it and feel all of those emotions. And I realized that I had to tie what my visualization was to something that was deeply emotional, which is my daughter. So the habit that I am creating so that I can anchor myself around this 3 to 5 minutes of visualization each day is when I am putting my daughter to sleep, when I am rocking her and giving her final final bottle at the end of the night, which, yes, I know she's 1 year old. Supposedly you're not supposed to do bottles, but that's another here nor there that I'm slowly working through. But while I am doing that, that gives me a time to sit. I think of 6 different things that I'm grateful for that happened that day. And they could be super small things to, hey, I saw a blue jay, to we got a new sale at Prowess Project. And I sit, and for a solid 30 minutes, I go through what it would feel like to be in my dream life already. And that has always felt very woo-woo to me. That has always felt like, where am I going to find that time? Like, how am I going to make that happen? But I connected it to like physical time that I am with her. And that helps me connect that emotion to the why and then make the habit happen. So that is my example. It feels, again, very woo-woo and passionate. And so I'm excited to hand it over to Leah, who may have something that's a little bit more structured, but who knows? So Leah, all you. Well, any questions before I continue? Okay, if you do, put them in the chat. And Leah, I'm handing it over.
I love that, because my brain was thinking, and the notes that I have prepared to talk about this is all about the systems, right? Like, that's how I look at it. So I love that we both come at this 2 different ways. And so when I'm looking at a habit that I want to start, form, change, I'm always going to, what is that intention? A little bit of the why behind it, but I'm, again, visualizing same kind of concept of what I want to do. But the way I come about it is, how am I going to organize it? What is the system? How am I going to track it? How am I going to know I'm making progress, right? So what I like to utilize is, and I know I've talked about it before, but coming from that Atomic Habits, and even that is its reference from the Tiny Habits program, but it's habit stacking. And this is the idea of implementing the intention. And what you're looking at is that you're taking a new habit and you're attaching it to, just like Ashley said, okay, so I want to, and I was going to mention, I want to journal more. So if that's my goal, I want to then start looking at what am I doing that I'm going to attach that habit to so that I can make sure that this is happening. So like Ashley's talking about, she has the emotion of she's with her daughter and she wants to continue that she's using that as her trigger. I'm thinking of, okay, every time I listen to a podcast, I am then going to take 5 minutes to journal. So it's usually habit stacking is after or before something that's already happening in your life. So the systems that I'm already existing in, I am then going to do this. So it's like you're just adding it. Like a simple one is simply like after I wash my face, I'm going to put on moisturizer. It's sort of that same thing. Like you're already in it. And so that's how I find that I can stick to a habit is because I'm already there in the space, right? And then to the bonus on this is I like to create the cheat sheet in my phone of like, so I can then go and check it off because I like that positive reinforcement also. But that's how I come at this. Again, it's that intention behind it is that I want to, so my overall intention is that this year I want to increase my knowledge base and be more confident, backing then into what are those habits, the behavior I'm going to attach it to so that I know that it's going to happen every day. So does that make sense to everyone? Or any questions or add-ons that you may be doing already too in that kind of way, manner? Okay. But Ashley, I think it's sort of coming at a different angle from the way that you're doing it. Is instead of the emotion, I like to look at it from like the system. Like this is very operational, and I can track it and I can check it off my list.
I absolutely love that. And for those who are in Facebook, if you cannot hear Leah from the StreamYard, hop into the Zoom. Leah, will you remind me that we need to figure out StreamYard?
Yeah, put it on the list.
Put it on the list. All right. So thank you, Leah. Anything that's coming up for y'all as we're talking about just two different ways of creating habits? Awesome. So now we want to talk about some other tips about habits. And one thing that you said, Leah, is if you want to expand on the idea of habit stacking.
Yes. So again, habit stacking is that idea that you go to the things that you already are doing on a daily basis and you then have this other behavior that you want to add in and you're just adding it. You're allowing yourself to think, okay, I'm already doing this. I'm already drinking a glass of water every day. So that's when I'm going to take the supplements that I say I'm going to do every day. Right? So then all of a sudden you're getting success there. You're drinking the water, you're taking the supplements, and now you say, okay, now I'm going to take 5 minutes to breathe. So I'm adding this next habit. So then all of a sudden you realize that you've got this great morning routine going where you wake up, you drink your water, you take your supplements, you take 5 minutes to breathe, you open your calendar, you go through your list, you're all set. And so it just starts this positive behavior where you keep adding one thing on to the success that you're already having with your habits. And so it's what I love about it is that on those days when you may be dragging, you might need that extra cup of coffee and you're thinking, oh, I don't know if I can even get through this. All of a sudden you realize you've just gone through these steps because it was what you were doing every day and one moved you to the other. So maybe you don't spend 5 minutes breathing, but you spent 2 because it's part of your routine and you're doing it without even thinking.
I love that. Can anyone relate to that, or does anyone want to incorporate that in their habit forming? Show me in chat. Give me some thumbs up.
Actually, the other thing I like about the habit stacking is sometimes it's a great way to just try things out. So giving yourself the space to say, okay, tomorrow after I turn on the computer and go through my emails, I'm going to spend 5 minutes reading an article about something that I'm curious about, right? Yeah. Because if your overall intention is then to get, like I said, increase your knowledge base, or maybe it's to be more confident in reaching out to people on LinkedIn, right? So after I do this, this, and this, I'm just going to spend 5 minutes reading about this. And then my goal by the end of the week is to start adding on one outreach in LinkedIn, right? So you can work your way into these habits that you want to form that are a little more, maybe they're intimidating for you, or you just feel like I need a big confidence boost to get there. You can start adding in, what do I want to add? What do I want to stack in order to get to this goal? So I like looking at it that way too, because we can come up with habits. It's like you come up with a great New Year's resolution and that thought is draining. So let's give ourselves a break and work our way up to where we want to be. It's just like fitness, right? I'm not going to go out and run 5 miles. I'm going to say I'm going to every day gradually get there. We can do the same thing with our professional goals.
Oh, that's such a good point. That's a really, really, really good perspective. So I'm curious, raise your hand or put in chat if your habits that you want to form or your goals you want to form are for professional life or personal life or whatever we want to call it, family life. I'm curious, like where everyone is right now in their journeys. Yes, incremental is the way to go. Family and professional, love it, love it, love it. Professional and personal, awesome, Julie, awesome. Mine are definitely in the professional and personal, but are kind of the same. Mine is really about showing up as a better, how do I want to describe this? A better is such a blah word. It's such like a, fat-free vanilla word, it's, I want to come, it's like a more magnetic leader. I want to really be there to be inspiring and not just the business, but also in my family. So like for me, it's this mix between professional and personal. And so one thing that I want to talk about real quickly though is the doubt, because we've been talking about that kind of indirectly. And a lot of the times the reason why we don't start habits or habits don't end up being formed, right, is because we have this doubt. And so I really want you to take some time, and you can share this if you want, but also I understand that this is pretty private. Take some time and write down some of your doubts and just name them. Whether it is saying it out loud, whether it's writing them down on a piece of paper, whether it is putting them as notes in your phone, write them down, get them out of your head, and then really examine them and see, is this accurate? Is this something that is valid, or is this an excuse? And I'm bad about that. I'm definitely bad at that. Yes, that is scary. It is scary to do that, to just write down all your doubts. And I'm curious too, like if there's someone who you really trust, give those doubts to them. Like what I may do in this exercise is I may write down my doubts and give them to Leah and say, Leah, like, are these valid? And if yes, they are valid, then like, I need to work on those. Or she's like, no, actually, you're being crazy. You're being self-conscious. You're being blah, blah, blah. How are you going to get to your goals if you're being self-conscious? And she's right. So take some time. In the chat, I want you to put in when you're going to sit down and write out your doubts. When you're going to sit out and write out your doubts.
Ashley, can I add something to this?
Oh, yes, please.
So, because this is an intimidating exercise, but if you can do it in the form, and Ashley, you've given me to this one, like what would you tell your younger sister? Like sometimes if we allow like the person that's sharing the doubts to almost be like a different part of us, right? So not trying to answer them at the same time we're writing down the doubt. We're allowing the younger sister of ourselves or our inner voice or whatever to just be honest and write them down and then put them away for a whole day. Then come back to them and answer them as you would someone that was sharing them with you, like to separate that perspective. Sometimes it can take the scariness out of it, because you're not trying to correct it right in that moment. You're just trying to get some honest. It's like deciding you're going to write a book. So just write this as if it was a character in a story. What are their doubts? And then come back and reflect on them.
Oh, I love that. I really love that. All right, ladies, we are going to be wrapping up for today. Any questions that we have on today on forming habits? I know a lot of you are very interested in becoming an online business manager, so I want you to be thinking about what habits you can create to help yourself get there. Is it doing more research, but don't rabbit hole? Is it following some people who have done it? Is it learning more about what being an OBM is? Is it talking to other people who are OBMs? What is it? What are some things that are habits that you are going to do to get you there? And speaking of which, this is the first time that we are announcing this, but we are doing a 3-day workshop that is called the OBM Opportunity Soaring to Six Figures, Becoming an Online Business Manager. We are doing a 3-day event starting on January 23rd. We had such a huge success in one that we did in early December that we are breaking it out even more and piling in more content for you. You will be learning what an OBM is, who they work for, what the opportunity is out there, and hint, 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 there is a lot of demand and not a lot of supply. You will hear from a potential coach, and you will also hear from someone who has taken the leap to be an OBM. So I'm really, really excited to have you all there. Again, that is on January 23rd. And Leah, do we have that link that we can put in chat by chance?
I'm grabbing it right now.
Fantastic. So again, yes, we will be talking all about what an OBM, and of course you can come to all of our lives that are Wednesdays at 1 p.m. But if you know that you are ready to get started to become an OBM and you want the support, you want the certification, you want the access to jobs through Prowess Project, absolutely do check out our OBM certification program. We will also put the link in chat for you there. But again, if you have any questions on that, please let us know. We have a lot of people who are even on the line today who are part of the certification and are whizzing through it. And I am loving it. I'm loving to see all the progress, and just know if you're on the fence, this can be you too. So 6 weeks program and 6 months of support. Any questions? Any questions? Fantastic. Well, we will see you back on, when will we see you back? On next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Thanks, everyone.